now we'll focus on safety. Yes, talking safety. We're joined now by Debbie Windele, who is a fire and safety professional. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we have those who think that, well, yes, we, to some extent, have relegated safety issues, maybe not where they ought to be, while some others think, well, actually, we've taken note of that and we're trying to bring it to the front burners, and so we're doing as much as we can. But you've gone around, you've seen a few things here and there. How do you think we're faring with respect to safety issues in this country?
I think we're actually far, far behind, and I believe we will get there with the right framework in place. But right now, we haven't really got any framework in place. But we will get there if we are listened to and if the resources are there.
How would you advocate what kind of steps should we be taking?
Okay. The first step that I would say would be to actually educate the masses. The masses do not have any education on their own health and safety at all, and health and safety of others. So they need to take personal responsibility of that.
Okay, I'll start. Let's be more specific. For the week, we've seen a lot of people getting to buy petrol in jerry cans because of the scarcity of the commodity. Lately, some of them, they put them in their homes. Some of them, you put it in your trunk and you move around with it. So perhaps there might be some safety issues or risk or hazard associated with such.
Yes, there is very, very high risk. I actually drove around the petrol stations just to have an idea of what's actually going on, and it was chaotic. And I'm thinking, why would people be doing this? People should be educated on this. I think if people need petrol, they should at least buy the minimum quantity that they actually need. They should not be allowed to buy over the amount that is required. And the only way that this could be done is by the government actually putting some legislation in to stop the petrol stations from actually selling this petrol over the quantity that people actually require. Because come to think of it, most people have generators in their houses, and generators do have a capacity. So why can't you buy the amount of capacity that you actually require for that day? Yes, I do understand that people are obviously scared because they don't know when they're going to get the next lot of petrol to, power their generators. However, there is so much risk associated to storing it in their homes.
Well, we don't know.
Well, the risk are, for example, people use naked flames in their homes. I've been to homes where they still use candles, and with naked flames, and we actually kegs and kegs of petrol being stored in flats. That is a big danger, because if that ignites, they would lose their lives and their homes as well.
Fire is one area that, we haven't actually been able to manage. Perhaps let's talk more on that. And you talked about capacity for us as a people. Let's talk about our fire service and how they've been able to respond to some of this. Because first, if the individual knows about some of these safety measures, then he should be able to curtail some of those or avert it before the fire service comes in. So let's talk about the response time and what we'll need to help in terms when there is any kind of disaster. Okay. Fire-related disaster.
Well, I did a feasibility study on the Nigerian fire service, and I believe that, for me personally, I think they're really far behind. They haven't got, I don't know if it's capacity or if it's the resources to actually deal with major incidents should it happen. For example, I actually visited a few buildings, and I noticed that their fire extinguishers were out of date, or they had the wrong classes of fire extinguishers, because for every fire there is a different type of fire extinguisher that you use.
Is that why they have colors, black, red?
That's why they have colors, and the majority of fire extinguishers should actually be red. With 95% of it should be red, with 5% with a color, indicating what that fire extinguisher is meant for, the use of it. Because you have fire extinguishers that you can use for say gas fires. You have fire extinguishers that you can use for solids, for liquids. However, people don't know that. I've been to a lot of buildings where you have lots of fire extinguishers where it's blue all over. That is not international standard at all. So the fire service needs to go around and make sure that people have proper fire extinguishers.
So when you use the wrong one to fight the fire, so it doesn't go out quickly.
It wouldn't go out because you're obviously using the wrong one for it. And the fire service, the Nigerian fire service, need to maybe create a platform where they do employ inspecting officers that would go around to big buildings that employ a lot of people to make sure, especially maybe like companies that manufacture plastics, they should actually go around, make sure that they have the correct fire extinguishers, and make sure that they're in date, not out of date. Because if it's on the wall and if it's out of date, then there's no point.
How would you rate, I mean, I don't know how long you've been in the country now, but how would you rate, you know, the awareness and knowledge of safety generally of Nigerians?
I would say that, if I'm going to be very honest with you, people are not very aware of their own safety and for others. And this is what I'm trying to push. That, look, safety isn't about others, it's about you as well. You need to protect yourself. I think as Nigerians, we're more concerned about theft of our properties rather than fire.
Security will,
Yes.
will be top on the agenda
Yes.
than safety.
Than safety.
How would you say, you know...
Than fire safety. Yeah.
I mean, some people have talked about high fences and all of that also being something that doesn't help when there's a fire and all of that. Well, how would you say that the two be merged? How would you advise that they be merged?
Well, to start off with, I think with building of properties, the sort of burglary proofs that we've got in Nigeria isn't really accurate. Because if a fire should happen in a building, how are people going to get out? People should actually understand their escape route within a house. So people are never ever going to get out if... So I think government should actually put legislations in. When people build houses, they should actually have burglary proofs that can be easily opened wide, where people can escape through the windows.
But that definitely should be a consideration. In every area of considering security, safety is also an area to be considered as well. Now, at what level of government or what agency of government, as you see our government presently constituted, do you think carries this responsibility?
I think we're getting there. I think with the right shouting, I think we will get there. Because at the moment, the governments, they know that the world is looking at them, and we have a lot of expatriates working in Nigeria as well. And I'll tell you, for example, maybe like the oil companies, they would not send their people into a place where they know it's not safe. People have to be qualified, health and safety-wise, for them to work in that establishment.
Do you think that's one area to start? Places of work will be one area to start?
Yes.
But what about the schools? Is this something you advocate as that should be part of the curriculum?
Yes, at the moment I'm working with a school right now, and what we're doing is we're doing like year 2, and which is like kind of like year 2 would be maybe about 6-year-old here, and year 6, which would be like towards leaving secondary school here. And what we do is that we're educating them about the dangers of fires, about trying to plan their escape routes, knowing not to play with matches, and knowing that, you know, if their parents try and say to their parents, "Mom, don't use candles, use alternatives." And if you must use candles, make sure they're contained in a container, sealed container.
So these are some of the things we should actually imbibe when we're home.
Yes.
But come to think of it, should we also be thinking of having extinguishers in our homes?
Well, you could have extinguishers in your home, but you need to be trained on how to use it. So if you're not trained on how to use it, who's going to pay for training on how to use the extinguishers? That's going to be another factor.
No, I thought you just removed the...
No, it's not. You need to
Take
be
it
trained
off
on it.
and...
You need to be, and for a woman as well, there is a certain capacity that a woman can carry, and there's a certain capacity that a man can carry. So you cannot, you know, just pick up one and use it.
You want to talk more on that?
You need to be able to use it, because obviously as a woman, our frame is, no disrespect to the women though, but obviously we're more smaller frame.
But you were in the fire service, so perhaps maybe you want to tell us more on the kind of pressure that comes with some of this. If you're talking about how we can handle some of them, it means it bursts with some amount of pressure when you try to extinguish a fire.
Yes, because it's heavy. And as a man, there is a capacity that you obviously can carry. And as a woman, there's a different capacity.
A powerful man.
Because you're more masculine than us. So